I'm going to be going over my informed consent Google form. So, yeah, I think that one of the biggest things that I focused on in my informed consent document was making sure that Alex actually feels like he has control in this process. Um, Based on his case, it kind of sounds like he already struggles with the feeling of being stuck and not being able to say no, especially with his parents who are paying for the counseling. So I really wanted the document to emphasize the autonomy, like reminding him that he has his own space and he can make his own decisions. So, for example, I made it clear that even though his parents are paying for therapy, they don't have access to what he shares. And I put that in the payment policy. I mentioned third party members and that they do not have the ability to share unless he has provided written permission. Um, so yeah. I focused on non malfeasance. That shows up in like explaining confidentiality, clearly setting boundaries, and making sure that he understands the limits of therapy. I'm also upfront about things like risks or difficult emotions. Um, and, like, yeah, how difficult emotions might show up in counseling. And this kind of just prepares him so it doesn't seem as scary, and it kind of just, um, it prepares him for what's to come. Um, Honestly, I think the conversation about informed consent matters more than the document itself. I think, I mean, most people, when they're provided a terms and service or anything like that, they usually just skip to the bottom and sign it. I think having the conversation not only makes sure that they actually understand it and have read um, everything, but it also kind of just it gives the client um, it makes them feel like it's actually genuine when you have that personal connection in a vocal conversation. Hopefully, like preferably in person, but this also could take place online. But having somebody read this to you and go through it with you also just builds rapport, um, and it kind of makes everything seem more, yeah, serious and genuine. So um, yeah, like during the conversation, I'd also want to make sure that I mean, after we go through the entire consent form, I'd want to make sure that I ask questions like, how does this feel to you? And do you have any concerns? I'd want to make sure that Alex knows that this isn't just like a formality. This is something that I actually do care about and will carry out. And I think making sure that they feel comfortable with it and allow space for questions will kind of emphasize that I am serious about this consent form. So, yeah, I think that pretty much covers all the questions. So, yeah.